he comes back around and tries to shine his flashlight into the back of my camper shell. You'll see here in a second.
The camera's gone out of focus. What the flip was that?
Hopefully we didn't like part 2. What is
Who is
that? Michelle,
What?
Go.
What the hell?
Yeah, we got Grizzly up there. Looks preoccupied, but...
This footage comes from Brandon, the creator behind the YouTube channel Roadie, where he documents his experiences living out of his truck, traveling independently, and sharing the challenges that come with spending nights on the road. Through his videos, Brandon often explores the realities of mobile living, from finding safe places to stay to dealing with unexpected situations that can happen while sleeping in isolated locations. On December 12th, 2017, late at night, Brandon pulls his truck into what seems like a quiet parking area, hoping to get some rest before continuing his journey. The location appears empty and peaceful, with no obvious signs of danger around him. However, sometime after settling in for the night, an unexpected presence approaches his vehicle, turning an ordinary night of rest into an unsettling encounter that would change the way he viewed overnight parking.
So it was probably around like 1:30 in the morning when I heard someone walking around my truck. And whenever you're sleeping, somewhere public and you hear somebody walking around outside your truck, it's always a little bit alarming. So what you'll see here in a second, he pulls out his phone and starts taking pictures. It looks like of my license plate or something like that. I'm not sure why he was doing this. So I thought maybe, I wasn't allowed to park there and he was taking pictures of my license plate, but it's kind of odd to be doing that at 1:30 in the morning. And he didn't look like a security guard or anything like that. Also, some of you may be wondering why he's not able to see me in the back. And where I was parked, the street light shined into the cab, but the camper shell has really tinted windows, so it was pitch black in the back where I was. So after he'd done a few laps around my truck, and I could tell it looks like he's up to no good, he comes back around and tries to shine his flashlight into the back of my camper shell. You'll see here in a second. And I just bang on the window, and he takes off running. So he probably wasn't expecting that. But yeah, that was basically it. He took off, and I hopped out of my truck, got in the driver's seat, and took off somewhere else to sleep for like 5 more hours or whatever. So this is a good example of why I never really liked to sleep in like parking lots and stuff like that. During the summers, I live out of my truck a lot, but it's always at either work or campsite. Oh guys, real quick, look at my door right here, and you'll notice it's a little bit cracked open. And so I think what happened is I didn't forget, but I just didn't close it all the way.
What initially seemed like a random person passing by soon became difficult for Brandon to ignore as the individual's actions around the truck continued without explanation. The reason behind the action remained unclear, leaving Brandon with only possibilities about what the person was looking for or why they had chosen his vehicle in the middle of the night. Although the encounter ended without a direct confrontation, the unsettling nature of what happened stayed with him. Afterward, Brandon began looking back at the small details surrounding the night, wondering if there were signs he had overlooked that may have drawn attention to his truck in the first place.
So this is kind of how my door was. You can see it's closed. There's a little gap. It's locked. You're not going to get in there. But it's definitely noticeable from the side and everything. So a few takeaways I've got from this video. First things, I do have a curtain that covers from the cab to the back where I am, but for some reason it fell off during the night. On that night, I think the Velcro was wearing out or something. But it just adds a little bit of privacy. So another really nice thing to have if you are going to do some car camping, and I've talked about this in my previous videos, is a limo tinted windows on your camper shell. Not only will this not let people see into the back while you're sleeping, but it'll hide any belongings that you may have in the back. Alright, so that's about it. I just wanted to share my experience. I know some of you might think sleeping in your car or truck or whatever, car camping, might sound a little bit odd, but it's really a growing community right now. This kind of living off the grid thing, and that's not exactly what I do. I do it because I work as a guide during the summers, so that's primarily why I have this set up. But it's still really cool. I can go out and travel, and I pretty much always have somewhere to sleep. Although, you know, like I said earlier, I wouldn't suggest sleeping in random parking lots. I always try to stay at campsites, friends' places, work, places where I know that I'm allowed to be.
Whether or not the partially closed door played any role in attracting attention, one thing remained clear. The encounter changed the way Brandon viewed sleeping in unfamiliar places. After that night, he continued living out of his truck, but became far more cautious about where he chose to stay. Instead of relying on random parking lots, he focused on locations where he felt safer, such as campsites, work areas, or trusted places. Because while life on the road can provide freedom and independence, it also comes with uncertainties that are easy to overlook until something unexpected happens. And for Brandon, this encounter became a reminder of how quickly a quiet night can turn into a situation that is impossible to predict. The man outside never revealed why he was taking pictures, why he spent so much time around the truck, or what he was actually looking for. Brandon was left with only possibilities. Maybe he was simply curious, maybe he had another reason for inspecting the vehicle, or maybe his intentions were not as harmless as they appeared. That uncertainty was what made the situation so disturbing, because Brandon had no way of knowing what the man wanted while he was alone inside the truck. The most unsettling part of the encounter was that thought that what if the man had managed to gain access to the truck or force a confrontation? The situation could have taken a completely different direction. The outcome would have depended entirely on his intentions, especially if he had been carrying a weapon or had planned something beyond simply observing the vehicle. What was supposed to be a quiet night of rest could have quickly become a dangerous situation where Brandon had very little control over what happened next. Brandon never discovered what the man truly wanted. He only knew that someone had approached his truck in the darkness, studied it closely, and left before he could understand the reason behind it. Sometimes it is the unanswered questions that remain the longest, not because of what happened, but because of what could have happened if things had taken a different turn. By the end of the night, Brandon was never able to discover the true reason behind the man's actions. What remained was not evidence of what he intended to do, but the reminder of how vulnerable someone can become when they are alone in an unfamiliar place. A parking lot that appeared quiet and empty at night had suddenly become a place where trust and caution mattered more than comfort, leaving Brandon with a lesson he would carry into every night spent on the road afterward. David is the creator behind the YouTube channel Haunted Finders, where he investigates haunted locations, abandoned places, and areas surrounded by stories of unexplained activity. Known for exploring places where countless people have reported strange experiences, he often returns to locations where previous investigations have left behind unanswered questions. It's June 26, 2020. Under the cover of darkness, David returns to the original Sherwood forest, a place surrounded by centuries of folklore, mysterious legends, and countless reports of paranormal activity. After previously investigating this same area and experiencing strange movements, he decides to return once again to search for more evidence behind the unusual events connected to the forest. However, as the night progresses and the silence of the woodland becomes deeper, David experiences something that would push his investigation beyond anything he had previously encountered.
To a place that absolutely terrified us on the last visit. It was when we started seeing all those shadow figures and stuff on it, and all running past us and stuff in this woods, and we are at the main area of Sherwood Forest. This is the very original Sherwood Forest. This is the actual place that people know of as being Sherwood Forest, and supposedly one of the most haunted forests in the world. So yeah, we are back in Sherwood Forest. Loads of you guys have been writing to us asking us to come back to Sherwood Forest. I've had hundreds of messages since the last investigation here asking us to come back and see what else we experienced. So here we are. Let's see what happens tonight. It's a good night for it because there's no wind. It is absolutely silent. So once it gets dark, it's going to be quiet as anything, which means we'll hear every little movement. So if something does come running past us or walking towards us, we're going to hear it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be caught on this camera.
There's one thing you'll catch, is me running.
Entering the woods, they were met with a scene that seemed almost untouched. The forest appeared calm and peaceful, almost impossible to imagine as the location of so many disturbing encounters. But as they moved deeper into the forest in the daylight, it slowly disappeared. The feeling of isolation began to grow. With miles of woodland surrounding them and no one else nearby, every sound seemed louder than it should have been. As the uncertainty around their surroundings continued to build, David began using paranormal equipment in an attempt to communicate with any presence that may have been within the forest, hoping to uncover answers behind the strange activity reported in the area.
What was that?
Don't know.
People.
Where?
What was that?
Don't know.
People.
Where?
I heard voices.
No, I did.
Is it on the path? Let's see if it's on the path. I heard voices. Wait, you can't see through the trees now. I heard them voices clearly. That definitely sounded like a man. I thought it came from here, up there, or around that area.
Could be. It's still light in it, so when you get public around here,
Yeah, but if it was public, we'd have seen it.
yeah.
While continuing to scan the area, unusual sounds, voices seemed to echo between the trees, creating the impression that someone else was nearby. However, despite searching the area and looking for any possible source, there was no visible sign of anyone else in the forest. As he continues looking through the darkness, David notices something or someone moving through the trees. The sighting was brief, and the distance made it impossible to identify exactly what he saw, but the experience adds another unexplained moment to an already disturbing investigation.
Please try and show yourself or do something around us to let us know that you're here.
What the hell was that? What the hell was that? Did you hear that?
What the flip
Did
was
you
that?
capture that?
What was it?
Somebody running or
It wasn't.
growling or something. It was rah, ah, ah, like that.
That was directly behind me.
Come towards us.
Come on. Do something. Show us that you're really here. Nothing. That was like a sigh.
That's good, thanks.
Something just sighed. Footsteps.
Can you do something else? Keep doing it.
The sounds and movements that had appeared throughout the forest seemed to follow no clear pattern, making it almost impossible to determine where they were coming from or what was causing them. Each attempt to locate the source only led to more uncertainty, as the surrounding woodland remained empty despite the repeated signs of movement, and the possibility that these events were simply natural occurrences became harder to separate from the unexplained moments being captured on camera. With every sound appearing to come from a different direction, they began trying to understand whether they were witnessing random activity within the forest, or something was intentionally making its presence known.
Come on, do something else if you're here. Oh. Was that? What
Yeah.
was that? It sounded like something threw something in the tree.
Yeah, somebody. That's good. You're doing really well. But we want you to do something that's going to scare us.
It's like it's circling us. It came from this direction then. The camera's gone out of focus. What the flip was that? What the flip was that? Where am I running towards? Where am I going?
Get back here.
Oh, jeez. David, I don't know where I'm running.
Did you hear that? Sorry.
What was it? It was, I heard like a... like that sort of noise.
I did it, right in my ear hole. Did you hear it then?
I heard it clear as anything. I ran towards it and then realised that I was running towards it and ran
The
back.
thing is, we're asking them to do stuff, and when they do,
You ran
Sure.
as well. I caught you on camera running away as well.
yeah, but it was so close to me. It spooked me like hell. I'm going back. Come on.
That was horrible. That was been horrible. I ran towards the noise like an idiot because I was that scared.
The sounds appear inconsistent and difficult to trace, making it impossible to establish whether they are originating from one specific location or multiple areas throughout the forest. And as the uncertainty continues to build, the tension surrounding the investigation begins reaching its breaking point. With no clear explanation for the activity and the growing feeling that something unseen may be moving around them, the fear of the unknown starts to take over. After experiencing a series of unexplained events throughout the night, David and his friend decided it's time to leave the woods, ending the investigation before the situation becomes even more unsettling. What happened inside Sherwood Forest that night left David with more questions than answers. The investigation that had begun with seeking answers behind the strange reports instead became a night filled with unexplained sounds, strange movements, and moments that were difficult to understand. If the sounds they captured were nothing more than ordinary movements within an ancient forest, then perhaps the darkness simply amplified every noise and made the unknown feel far closer than it actually was. But if there was something else present among the trees, something aware of their presence and reacting to their attempts to communicate, then the investigation may have revealed only a small part of what was truly happening inside Sherwood Forest. Ancient forests have always carried stories of legends, warnings, and unexplained encounters. For centuries, people have looked into places like Sherwood Forest and wondered what might exist beyond what we can see. While many mysteries eventually find logical explanations, others remain because there is simply not enough evidence to reveal the truth completely. And perhaps that is what made this investigation so disturbing. David did not leave with a clear answer about what had been moving through the darkness that night. Instead, he left with the same uncertainty that brought him there in the first place. Because sometimes the most frightening encounters are not the ones where something reveals itself completely. They are the ones where something remains hidden, leaving behind only enough evidence to make you question what was really there. Michelle Orikoff, better known as Hype Mike, is a Canadian horror and exploration creator known for documenting investigations into abandoned locations, paranormal legends, and places surrounded by stories of unexplained activity. His videos often combine exploration with a cinematic horror style, taking him and his companions into locations where the history of the site becomes increasingly difficult to separate from the strange encounters they experienced there. On October 7th, 2023, Michelle entered one of his most unsettling locations yet, an abandoned settlement known as the Undead Village, a place surrounded by a disturbing story of a burned-down psychiatric community, unexplained disappearances, underground tunnels, and reports of strange people still wandering through the surrounding forest. Accompanied by Shira, Michelle began a 2-day trek toward the abandoned village, hoping to locate the missing investigators who had reportedly entered the area before them. But long before they reached the ruins, something happened along the trail that neither of them could explain, turning an already dangerous journey into something far more unsettling.
Guys, I'm pretty sure this is the entrance to the forest where the undead village is supposed to be. And there seems to be like some kind of fence telling us not to go in, but you know us. What does that say?
Do not enter dead inside.
What? That's weird.
Do not enter dead inside.
Well, this is supposed to be where the undead village is. That's kind of creepy. Do not enter dead inside.
Yeah, I would say do not enter is normal at this point.
Yeah.
For all
At
of
this
your
point,
kind of
it's-
adventures, it's normal, but the dead inside, now that's
Yeah.
new.
That's kind of creepy. And it looks super overgrown, guys.
The warning was unusual enough to make them stop and consider what they were walking into. Beyond the fence, there was no obvious path leading forward, only thick vegetation and darkness between the trees. The settlement had once been occupied, but nature had almost completely reclaimed it. They climbed over the barriers and entered the forest anyway. The deeper they went, the harder it became to move. Thorn bushes, tall grass, insects, and dense vegetation repeatedly blocked their path, forcing them to search for any indication that an old road or trail still existed beneath the overgrowth, and eventually they found one.
So guys, right now, it's around 7 o'clock. We have about an hour before the sun's officially down. So now that we're on the trail, we should be able to cover way more ground than we did pretty much all day.
Not on the trail.
Yeah. And
Seems like we're making pretty good time.
what else did I want to say? Shh. What is that?
What the hell is that?
Who is that? Yo,
He's going into the woods. What the hell?
what's that? That was a person.
I know. Should we like go help them?
You see what they were wearing?
Yeah. What are they doing all the way out here in the middle of the woods? Should we go see if they're okay?
What is that? You think that was someone from the village? They were literally wearing like the doctor gown or whatever it's called.
Well, if they are from the village, do we maybe shouldn't? Michelle.
We're fine. As long as we're on the trail.
Just like went in there?
Yeah.
I don't see him anymore.
The person appeared to be wearing clothing resembling a medical gown, something that immediately connected the sighting to the history of the abandoned village. There was no obvious reason for someone dressed like that to be wandering through an isolated forest, especially so far from the settlement itself. What made the encounter more disturbing was that they could not determine where the person had gone. There was no clear explanation for who they were, why they were there, or whether they had even noticed Michelle and Shira watching them. As darkness approached, the trail became increasingly difficult to follow. Visibility was disappearing, and continuing deeper into unfamiliar woods created the risk of becoming completely lost, so they decided to stop and make camp.
Well, it is pretty dark, so I think if we go any further into the woods, we're probably just gonna get lost. And visibility right now is super low, guys, so I think we're gonna pull up the tent. We're gonna set it up right here. What's that?
Okay, spooky.
Is that a person?
Sounded like it.
All the way out here?
I know, we're in the middle of nowhere. Hello?
I don't think we want them to know we're here. What if it was that person that we saw earlier? You know,
Well,
there's no way they're running
hopefully
out there
there's
without, like,
not more than one running around here. Is all I'd have to say about that.
How would they be out here without like a flashlight, you know?
Maybe they're used to it. Who knows though? I agree with what you were saying.
Set up camp right here.
Yeah.
Somewhere. All right. Shh. Is that something?
Whoa.
Sprinting?
Whoa. Whoa.
Get in the tent. Get in the tent now. Oh my God. What was that?
It sounded like someone was sprinting towards us.
You think we're okay?
I don't know.
There's like a little window here. Oh my God. Guys, this tent setup was absolutely brutal.
The darkness made it impossible to see beyond the small area illuminated by their light. They tried to convince themselves that whatever they had heard was harmless, but the earlier sighting made that explanation difficult to believe. Inside the tent, they remained quiet, listening carefully to every movement coming from the surrounding forest. Their shelter was now nothing more than a thin layer of fabric separating them from whatever had approached in the darkness. With no clear view of what was nearby, they remained inside the tent, waiting silently for daylight to arrive. When morning finally returned, despite everything that had happened, Michelle and Shira decided not to turn back and continued their journey.
So guys, if you ever want to go on a hike with Hype Mike, just know that there are some chances you may get lost.
I've gotten lost many times.
Multiple times.
I have a poor track record for getting lost in the
Yeah.
woods.
So.
But I go on trails that aren't official, that's why.
It's okay. Just give your excuses if you really need to. But.
I gotta pull out the stupid compass now.
Yup, pull it out.
Okay.
Hopefully we didn't like part 2. What is
Who is
that? Michelle.
What?
Go. Go. Go.
Go. What the hell?
It's right there. It's literally yelling.
Come inside. Over here. Jesus. Who is that? Come on. Back here, back here, back here. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Help. Go, 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 go. Jesus. Where is he? What was that? Oh my God. That was f***ing horrifying.
I know. I think he just stopped her.
He was like yelling something. I don't know what he was yelling. Oh my God.
How are we?
Oh, now I'm freaking sweating. How are we running into all these like weirdos?
As the man shouted and ran behind them, they still had no idea who he was, what he wanted, or whether he was connected to the strange figure they had encountered the previous evening. They only knew they had been warned about people wandering around the village, and now one of those individuals was actively following them through the woods. Eventually, after continuing deeper into the wilderness, Michelle noticed a structure ahead, the settlement that appeared almost exactly as the stories had described. Abandoned buildings surrounded by vegetation, broken structures disappearing beneath the trees, and remnants of a community left behind for decades. And then, inside one of the structures, they encountered someone again.
So people have definitely been here.
Oh, for sure. There's graffiti all over the place. Knock, see if anyone's home.
I don't know if there's any alarms in this place.
Imagine someone came out.
Oh my God, that'd be scary. So this is the entrance. Ladies first. There's like a little opening here.
Through the window you go. I'm starting to think
Yeah.
you're just using that as an excuse because you're scared.
Am I?
I think so. Okay, what's like the It stinks in there. first
Yeah,
of
it's
all.
kind of bad. Wait, shh. What is that? Yo.
Let's go. Go, go, go.
Yo.
Come on. Come here. Let's go.
Oh my god. Mike.
Let's go. Where's it coming from? I can't tell. This one or this one?
Just hide for a second. It's coming this way.
Go.
It's coming in our direction.
You see it? What is it?
I don't know if we're alone.
Is it the guy?
I didn't see anything. It just sounded like something was walking toward me.
Should we just stay here? Or is there another way out?
I think we need to find another building. I don't want to be in this one.
The man had already appeared outside, followed them through the area, and now seemed determined to reach them inside the building. Michelle and Shira eventually found another exit and managed to put distance between themselves and the stranger. Moving through another building, they discovered rooms that appeared to have once been used for medical purposes. Beds remained scattered throughout the structure, while damaged doors and broken windows suggested that the building had been abandoned suddenly and never properly cleared. And knowing that they were followed, they began moving more carefully, keeping their lights off whenever possible and trying to remain unnoticed.
Shira, we need to run.
What?
Ah! Go. Go. Upstairs.
Hey,
This way.
go. What happened?
Up the stairs. What the f? We need to get out of here. What's that? Oh my god, are you okay?
Yeah. Go. Ow.
Who's that? Shit.
Seeing the man doing something deeply unusual, Michelle and Shira immediately turned and ran, abandoning the investigation as their only focus became getting away. They rushed back toward the exit, moving through the corridors and climbing through the building while trying to create as much distance as possible between themselves and whoever had been there. Each step took them farther from the unknown presence, but the fear of what they had witnessed followed them until they finally escaped the building. The undead village was supposed to be an exploration into a forgotten place, but the deeper Michelle and Shira traveled, the more it felt like they had entered somewhere that was not completely abandoned. The most unsettling detail was the repeated presence of another person in a location where almost nobody should have been. They were deep inside a remote settlement, surrounded by damaged buildings and overgrown wilderness, with no way of knowing who else was nearby or what their intentions were. Beyond the mystery of who the man was, another disturbing mystery was, what exactly was he doing inside that abandoned building? From the way he was moving and the activity taking place around the fire, it appeared as though he was cutting something, burning something, or carrying out some unknown task within the ruins. But what was he preparing, destroying, or trying to hide inside a forgotten settlement far away from civilization? The lack of answers only made the encounter more unsettling, leaving Michelle and Shira with a mystery that extended far beyond the abandoned village itself. In the end, Michelle and Shira left the undead village without uncovering the full truth behind its mysteries. The missing investigators, the abandoned structures, and the person moving through the ruins all remained connected by unanswered questions. The location continued to hold its secrets, hidden somewhere between the stories people told and the events that unfolded in front of them. Kevin is the creator behind the YouTube channel Kevin Wald, where he documents life on the road from a truck camper, exploring remote wilderness areas across Canada and the United States. His channel focuses on off-grid camping, outdoor adventures, and the realities of traveling through isolated landscapes, often taking him into areas where wildlife and unpredictable conditions become part of the experience. On August 8, 2026, Kevin travels through the remote Yukon region, eventually stopping near a secluded trail surrounded by mountains, dense wilderness, and known grizzly bear territory. What begins as an opportunity to explore one of the most isolated landscapes of the trip takes a more serious turn when Kevin encounters exactly the kind of animal he had been preparing himself for.
We're in one of those areas where, I don't know, sometimes on your phone you can still call satellite. Tried to call my parents for a little bit and ended up having to go completely over Wi-Fi calling because for some reason it wouldn't work here. Might be because I'm close to the US border too, I don't know. That or we are in just that remote of a place. But there is not a lot out here. Basically this highway, mountains, this trail, and a whole lot of bears. Oh wow. Well, this is looking like a pleasant treat over here. Wow. This is unreal. Wow. When I was reading about this hike, because before I went on it, I decided to research it a little bit and see what people have said, just in case there's any aggressive bears in the area. One person did say that they did have a run-in with one last year in June. So June, that's still a time when they're a little bit more, I don't know, that's still kind of early season for them. Still like out kind of looking for food, a little drowsy. But this area, I haven't seen any bear scat here yet. Maybe like way back at the beginning of the trail, I've seen some really old dry stuff, but nothing for the last little while. Also another sign that there hasn't been any in this area, at least not hanging out around here for a little bit, is I'm not seeing any digs. Usually with a grizzly bear, you'll see like patches of the ground just kind of ripped up and like little holes everywhere. And it's usually from them digging and like looking for things to eat. Not really seeing that. When I was over in Cassiar and I was walking along the runway, it was crazy how much I seen that. Could definitely tell that like early season there's a lot of bears out there. Wow though, like look at this landscape. This is unreal. I wish I could fly my drone in here, but this is a provincial park. So, no Sereno. Hey bear! And actually when I have the camera off, I usually am just listening to a podcast and I just let that run off my Bluetooth speaker here. The idea is not to sneak up on a bear. I'd rather it hear me from many, many kilometers away, especially since the wind's like coming towards me. They can't smell me before I'm coming. So you don't really want to sneak up on them. You want to, yeah, I don't know. That's just my tips to you guys. It's at least how I try to stay safe in bear country. A lot of people, I don't know, get really, really worked up about coming out to these places. And to be honest, it's just do your best.
On the isolated trail Kevin walked through, there were no nearby settlements, very little human activity, and almost nothing separating the path from the surrounding wilderness. That isolation made awareness especially important, particularly in an area where grizzly bears were known to travel. Kevin began paying attention to the signs around him, looking for disturbed ground, old bear activity, or anything else that could indicate a recent presence nearby. So far, there was little evidence to suggest that a bear was actively using that section of the trail, allowing Kevin to move forward with some confidence. However, that sense of security began to change when something in the distance caught Kevin's attention, forcing him to reconsider just how close wildlife could actually be.
Just seeing it up there. Shoot, I don't know how close this gets. Yeah, we got Grizzly up there. Looks preoccupied, but that is a big Grizzly. Wowza. Okay guys, I'm good. I imagine it already knows I'm here, but I don't know where the trail goes from here. And I also don't want to get cut off on my way back out. Like I said earlier, I just wanted to come out here for a nice walk. So, oh yeah, he must smell me too, because I'm downwind from him. I don't know. Yeah, that's a big Grizzly. Wow. To be honest, you guys, it would take him like nothing to get over here right now. I think we're just gonna turn around, back up until I'm out of his sight. Both of us can have a nice day. Am I right? I think I'm right. Beautiful creature though. Oh yeah, he just spotted me. Seen him lift his head. He's looking over here right now. Doubt you guys can even see him, but beautiful creature. Beautiful. I kind of just want to see if maybe... No, I think this trail goes just about... Yeah, a little bit too close for comfort. I'd be pretty close to him, I think. Yeah, because I don't think this goes down. I think it goes up. Oh, now I lost him. That's a little scary. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. I don't even think I should have hung around that long, because he might have got curious and be coming down here to see what's over here. But yeah, I'm just gonna try to get out of the area. They don't get many people out here. They're not like the ones in the national parks. They're kind of know what people are.
Kevin ultimately chose to abandon the remainder of the trail and head back toward the truck. The decision may have seemed cautious, especially considering that nothing violent had actually happened, but that was precisely what made the encounter important. The absence of an attack did not mean the situation was harmless. A grizzly could behave unpredictably, particularly when encountered unexpectedly in remote territory where it may have been less accustomed to people. What made the experience even more striking was that Kevin had already taken precautions before entering the area. He understood that bears were present, knew what signs to look for, and had been making noise so wildlife would have had the opportunity to detect him before he got too close. However, being prepared did not remove the uncertainty of moving through active bear country, where an encounter could happen at any moment without warning. The more unsettling part of the encounter was that Kevin eventually lost sight of the bear, leaving him without a clear understanding of its location or movements. Once the bear had noticed his presence, there was no way to know whether it had remained in the same area, moved away, or started approaching out of curiosity. Unlike humans, grizzlies do not rely only on their vision when exploring their surroundings. Their powerful sense of smell allows them to detect and investigate things from a distance. With the bear no longer visible but still aware that someone was nearby, continuing toward the lake would have meant moving forward without knowing exactly where the animal was or how close it could have been, which is why the most important decision of the day was not seeing the bear. It was recognizing when it was time to stop exploring. Tiago is an explorer and content creator known for his YouTube channel, Tiago Furacão, where he has built a strong following through his investigations of abandoned places, isolated locations, and areas surrounded by mysterious stories. His videos often begin with introducing the location, explaining the stories and reports that have surrounded the area before beginning the investigation. Once inside, Tiago documents every moment of the journey, capturing the environment, unusual discoveries, and unexpected events that unfold while searching for answers. One such investigation took place on April 20th, 2021, when Tiago traveled with Thais to a remote area surrounded by dense vegetation and rumors of a mysterious woman dressed in white appearing near a bridge. Hoping to uncover the truth behind these stories, Tiago entered the location after dark, unaware that the investigation would soon lead to a series of unsettling encounters deep within the forest.
Gente, é muita mata, ó. Mato muito alto. Muito, muito alto. E ó, é mata dos dois lados. E galera, bem aqui, ó, bem no meio passa uma ponte de um rio. E diz que é aqui que ela aparece, né? Pelo que a gente viu no vídeo é por aqui, né?
Sim.
Porque eu acho que não tem mais ponte pra lá, né?
Não sei, Thiago.
Da
Eu não
onde a gente veio
conheço
não
aqui.
tinha. Essa é a primeira. Tem alguém aí? Diz que bastante pessoas veio pescar e já viu também, né, Thaís?
Uhum. Caraca, velho. Tá dando um frio na barriga. Não sei por quê.
Aqui a ponte, aqui, ó.
Aqui a gente já tá na ponte, né? Nossa, Thiago, é alto, meu.
Natal.
Ui, cuidado.
Será que por acaso ela não jogaram ela dessa ponte aqui, alguma coisa aqui?
Não sei. Thiago, cuidado se cair na beirada, assim. Tem bastante pedra, né? Ó.
Tá até fundo? Parece que ali não, né?
Parece que ele é mais raso, né?
Você reparou que tinha atrás aqui?
Cuidado, Thiago.
Muito mato, né?
Reaching the bridge, the atmosphere around the location already felt creepy. The combination of the darkness, the surrounding forest, and the uncertainty behind the legend created a feeling of unease as the area where the sightings were reportedly happening. The river below, the abandoned-looking surroundings, and the dense vegetation around them made it difficult to separate the natural environment from the possibilities connected to the story. Then, while they continued searching the area, the investigation took another unsettling turn when strange sounds began coming from within the surrounding woods.
Foi isso?
Que isso?
Foi isso?
Que isso?
Alguém aí?
Que isso? Barulho estranho. Eu ia falar que pode ser bicho, mas que bicho faz esse barulho?
Escuta.
Aí, ó. Ai, meu Deus.
Meu Deus do céu, Thaís!
Ai, Thiago, que é isso? É ela?
Thaís do céu, você viu?
Ai, credo. Ai, Thiago, vambora.
Ai, Thiago, vambora. Ai.
Ai, meu Deus. Ai, Thiago. Ai.
Você viu, Thaís?
Ai.
Deixa eu do carro.
Não. Ai, Thiago, tô em estado de choque. Tô com medo.
Entra!
Ai.
Entra!
Ai, calma.
The figure appeared only briefly near the bridge, moving in a way that made it difficult for Tiago and Thais to understand what they were seeing. Its presence seemed to match the description of the woman in white from the local reports, but the darkness and distance prevented them from clearly identifying the figure. The unusual movement and sudden appearance created an unsettling moment, leaving them questioning whether they had witnessed the legend they came searching for, or something they could not explain. What made the experience even more unsettling was the timing of the encounter. After searching the location, listening to strange sounds, and spending time near the bridge where the sightings were reported, the appearance happened at the exact place connected to the legend. If the figure had been a real person, there were still questions that remained unanswered. Who they were, why they were there, and why they appeared in that specific location at night. But if the sighting was something beyond explanation, then the investigation had captured a moment that only added to the mystery surrounding the bridge. Thiago entered the area looking for evidence behind a story that many people considered nothing more than a local legend. Instead, he left with an experience that matched the very reports that brought him there. The forest never revealed the true identity of the figure, and the darkness surrounding the bridge kept the answer hidden. Perhaps that is what makes encounters like this so memorable. It is not always the things that are clearly seen that create the most fear, but the moments that happen too quickly to understand and leave behind more questions than answers. For Tiago and Thais, the legend of the woman in white was no longer just a story told by others. It became a mystery they had witnessed firsthand, one that continued to remain unexplained even after they left the forest behind.